I want to say welcome to everyone that's here. We may have a few more people coming in yet, and they'll catch our introductions as we go. My name is Kim Appel. I am the Career Technology Coordinator at UW Whitewater in the Career and Leadership Development Department. And I want to thank everyone for coming to this UW System Virtual Career Trek, which is featuring Uline out of Pleasant Prairie, Wisconsin. I do want to mention that we do have a registration form here for our students to fill out. As soon as I'm done speaking, I will make sure to paste the link in our chat. If you're here for class credit, part of the COBE Professional Development Program here at UW Whitewater, part of UW Stevens Point's Pro program, you need to fill out this form to make sure that you're getting credit. But even if you're not here for a class, we appreciate you filling out that form as well. Just to give a little bit of brief history about the treks. We are part of a UW System initiative that's been going on for the past academic year out of COVID. We've been hosting these UW treks virtually in fall and spring this year, with 13 different treks each semester and one UW school hosting each one each week. This is an initiative supported by the UW System President, Tommy Thompson, and this is the last trek of the semester. I'm so sad to hear that because this has been a really exciting series and we've been really happy to offer these. We will be back in September. We're definitely going to be providing more details later this summer, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later too. At this point, we do have a live poll that is going to come up on the screen. So if you can take a moment to let us know what school you are a part of and what year in school you are. This helps us to know who is here today and gives Uline an idea of who they're speaking with as well. All right, we'll give it just a moment. All right, looks like the poll has closed and we've got a good majority of students here from Whitewater and Madison, and quite a few from Green Bay or Oshkosh as well. And Eau Claire and River Falls are representing too. In terms of years in school, I'm seeing we've got a good number of sophomores here, juniors, seniors as well, and then we've got some faculty, staff, and alumni too. So welcome to everyone. Thanks so much for taking some time to fill out that poll. We appreciate it. Once again, I'm about to post the official registration form in the chat. Please make sure that you fill that out right away. Helps us to communicate with you after the trek. And I do want to mention that at any point, if you have a question during this career trek for Uline, please feel free to put that in the chat box anytime during the presentation, and we'll be sure to answer those at the end with a Q&A. So at this point, I want to introduce our company host for this trek, who is Jordan Bryant. We are very excited to have Jordan here and Uline here. Uline is a wonderful sponsor of UW Whitewater and our department. So we're really excited to partner with them here in this trek today. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Jordan and stop sharing my screen and let him take over.
Sounds good. Thanks so much, Kim. Glad to be here today. Everybody, it's great to meet you. So like Kim said, my name is Jordan Bryant, and I am the campus recruiting manager at Uline. So I am in HR. That's the department I work in, but my responsibility is really overseeing the internship program here at Uline, overseeing our relationships with different colleges and universities, as well as recruiting for a lot of our entry-level positions really that are designated for college students. So excited to be here today and share a little bit more about Uline, who we are as an organization. And as we go throughout the presentation, we'll definitely be able to answer questions either as we go if you have them, but we'll definitely have some time here at the end for that Q&A. I've been in recruiting for about, I guess, coming up 10 years, 11 years now. Started my career in higher ed recruitment and then came over to Uline about 2.5 years ago and have really loved being a part of the organization and have been learning a ton, growing a ton, and Uline is growing like crazy. And really want to get started here telling you a little bit about the history of the company so you can get to know a little bit who we are as a culture and really what we stand for and how we really make such a big impact on the economy and supporting businesses who are our customers. So many of you may know of Uline and who we are as a company, but what you may not know is that we started in the living room of the Uline home back in 1980. We began with one product. It's the H101 carton sizer. That product is still sold today. It's that product there on the screen. And it really was designed to cut a box down to size around the products that we were selling. And so really, we started with within the categories of shipping supplies, and as we started to sell this product, customers started asking us, "Do you also sell boxes and bubble wraps and tapes and other products to help them run their businesses more effectively?" So our first catalog was 16 pages in size. It's a lot bigger now, if any of you have seen one of those catalogs before. But we really got our start really in humble beginnings as a privately held, family-owned business that started back in 1980. So 41 years later, Uline is still family-owned and operated. We have the family members are actively involved in the business day to day. We've gone from that one product to over 37, now 38,000 products as an organization. We have over 7,000 employees, and we'll probably hit about 8,000 employees at the end of this year. And we are very stable, and we are growing very, very quickly. Last year, we eclipsed about the $6 billion threshold as an organization. And so if you really think about the idea of starting as a privately held company in the living room 40 years ago, and then just really kind of that progression and climb is truly remarkable in terms of how we've grown. What's crazy too is we've never acquired another organization. It's really been organic growth where we continue to support our customers, making sure that they have the products that they need to operate their businesses most effectively. And so where that has led us to become is we really are the nation's leader in terms of distributor packaging and industrial materials to businesses throughout all of North America. So we really have a majority of our operations are here in the United States, but we do have operations in Canada and Mexico. And from the very beginning, the customers have driven our business. We were selling this one product, and as Liz and Dick were working with our customers, they were quickly realizing that the customers were asking for more products, more things like boxes and tapes and more. And at Uline, one thing that is really core to who we are is that the customers are the really core of everything that we do. Most companies are going to say that their customers are most important because that's who pays the bills. Those are the ones who ultimately drive growth for the organization. However, at Uline, as I've been part of the company now for a few years, you really feel it differently. And I think everyone really has this whole mentality of customer service really being a leading aspect of who we are to work here at Uline. And that's a really big part of who we are. I hear a lot of times managers will say customers are number 1, 2, and 3 when it comes to our top priorities as a company. Now, we started in shipping supplies, and I'll be honest, I didn't join Uline because we sold boxes, bubble wrap, and tape. It wasn't the products that we sell that got me super excited to be a part of the company. It was how we did it. It was the way that we had a simple business plan, are committed to it, and are committed to helping support small, medium, and large-sized businesses throughout North America. And we've really gone way beyond just the boxes, bubble wraps, and tapes in terms of the products that we have. So we started there, but we've added things like material handling. So anything like warehouse shelving and things along those lines. Fun fact for you, anytime Amazon builds a new warehouse, they are using Uline products to build that warehouse and fill it to support their warehouse. We have a lot of safety supplies and janitorial supplies, jars and jugs, and products like hand sanitizer, personal protective equipment, cleaning supplies. Those have all been selling very, very quickly, as you can imagine, given what's happened in the last 14 months or so due to COVID. And the boxes and the bubble wraps, all the shipping supplies that we have as well are also very, very much in demand as every other company has moved into an e-commerce type platform. Now, one of the differentiators for us is that these products are always in stock. And what's really great for our customers is that they can call us today and they're going to get their products tomorrow over 99% of the time. And that really is something that in the business to business world is a lot harder to find. It's something that we're all used to in the world of Amazon and the business to consumer type buying process. It's a little more unique when it comes to the business to business categories, especially given some of the size of the products that we sell. Now, why should you buy from Uline? That's a question that I think is a logical thing to ask if you're a customer. Well, we essentially can function as a virtual warehouse for small and medium-sized businesses because we really build our whole value proposition on the idea of having high quality products, services, and a high level of reliability for our customers. And so if you place your order by 6 p.m. today, we are committed to getting that product out that same day. We are able to do that because we have every product in stock at all times at all locations. So yes, you can even buy ice melt in Mexico, maybe not being purchased very often, but it is something we do keep in stock at all times to make sure that all of our locations have every product that Uline sells available at all times. And when you call Uline to place an order or work through our website, we have some of the best customer service representatives around 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That really is where we try to make our a differentiator for us, where if you call us, you'll talk to a real person. We really place a high value on building long-term relationships with our customers, really wanting to make sure that we are working with them to be good partners to help them become as successful as they can be in running their organization. Now, to have all this product in stock, you have to have a lot of space. And you can see in here that this is inside one of our distribution centers. This is about a 1.1 million square foot warehouse. At Uline, we have about 17 million square feet of warehouse across the continent here. So we have a lot of large footprint in terms of products we have on hand because it's an expensive proposition to have everything available for our customers when having it in the warehouse. This warehouse in particular is so large you can fit over 20 football fields into this warehouse. That gives you just a little bit of context in terms of how big we are. And if any of you have been in a Costco, that would be about 8 Costcos that could fit inside one of these warehouses, which when I first walked in, my jaw about hit the ground. It was so clean and bright and organized. It was truly amazing. Now, some of you may have seen our corporate campus, those of you who are from or have been in the Southeast Wisconsin area. So that is where our corporate headquarters is located. And our distribution centers are all kind of a part of this network within about 5 miles of our corporate headquarters, allowing us to really have all of our products here, and we then distribute that out to our local branches. I'm going to try to play this video here so you can see just inside the warehouse. This was shot on my phone on a cart going through the warehouse. If it's a little choppy, I apologize for that, but maybe gives you a little bit of sense on how big it actually is inside of one of these warehouses. You can see it's very clean. You can see that the floors are spotless, very well organized. And it's very large. It takes a while to get around, and there's quite a few people in the warehouse that are jumping on these golf carts to get around, as well as even you'll see some of the warehouse employees jumping on a little bike to get across the warehouse for meetings and things like that. So it's definitely quite an impressive facility to be a part of. If you've never been in a large warehouse facility, definitely encourage you to do that. Again, I think that was a little choppy on your end. Sorry if that was true. Hopefully that gave you at least a taste of what that looks like. Now at Uline, like I said, we're based here in Pleasant Prairie, Wisconsin. We have a lot of locations really throughout all of North America, but we really are a Wisconsin company in terms of where our locations are at. So we have our corporate office here. We have one of our branches here that really services the Illinois, Indiana, Missouri kind of categories. And then we also have another one that sits right on the border of Wisconsin and Minnesota over in Hudson, Wisconsin. And so we have quite a few different opportunities just in the state alone, but then we have a lot of opportunities throughout North America. And so as you can see, this network really does provide us with the opportunity to really provide that next day shipping to over 90% of the country, which is really helpful in terms of us living up to our business proposition. I mentioned earlier that Uline's first catalog was about 16 pages in size. Right now we've actually have a catalog that's over 800 pages, and we're proud to be a catalog company, and we send these out to as many businesses and customers as we possibly can. A lot of companies have moved away from using catalogs to generate sales, but because we actually work with so many businesses as opposed to customers, we have found that it really is a great marketing tool for us to generate more sales. And so we send thousands and thousands and thousands of these every single year to different customers to make sure that they understand who Uline is, what the product selection we have as well. And our catalog company, or our catalogs, are all designed in-house. They put a fun twist on some of our industrial supplies and some of the ways that they design these. And so we have tested many times, if we stop sending catalogs to customers, how does that impact sales? And we see that it negatively impacts the sales. And so while most of our orders do still come through our website, we do continue to invest heavily in our direct marketing campaigns to our customers. Now, I mentioned the website, and Uline, because we're privately held, we don't show up on a lot of the different website rankings, so to speak, in terms of scale. But just to give you a sense of who Uline is in the market, we do about the same amount of daily traffic and sales as a HomeDepot.com or a Target.com, brands that you would be very familiar with. And so we have over 300,000 visitors on our website every single day. And it's really amazing how much activity actually happens on the website at Uline. When I first joined, I had no idea the size of the company that Uline actually was at the time. Now, I often get asked, what is Uline's culture? Who are we as an organization, and what is it like to work here? And so I often will describe Uline as having a culture of excellence, and really the commitment to making sure that we have excellent products, excellent people, excellent work, and operational excellence in how we conduct the business here. But we really also have very passionate people, people who are not here just for a paycheck. We're here to serve the customers, to make the business better, to make sure that we can continue to contribute at a high level because we care, not just because we get paid to do so. We have a lot of professional people. Professionals are really a big aspect of who we are as a culture in terms of how we communicate and how we dress and how we treat our customers, how we treat each other. We're highly collaborative. I think that family environment or family business collaborative feel is really carried true even as we've grown to nearly 8,000 employees. We really do work functionally in a highly collaborative environment. We're very customer focused, and I'm sure you're picking up on that as I continue to repeat the customer service, customer focused mentality. We operate very quickly. We're very fast paced, and we do provide a lot of family work-life balance in terms of being able to come in, work really hard during the day, but then still allow you to live your life outside of work really to the fullest. And I really have appreciated that opportunity being here. I've got 3 kids. It's great to be able to come home and be a dad 100% and be able to not have to be checking my email every single minute of every day. Now, many of you are probably from a lot of different backgrounds, and because we have so many opportunities in the state of Wisconsin, I wanted to mention that these are really a lot of the different backgrounds or majors that we tend to hire for them. We hire a lot in IT and technology, a lot in the business world, whether it be finance or supply chain or marketing, HR, things along those lines. A lot of opportunities if you're a creative type and you like to design. We do all of our design in-house, and we do also really look for people who are great writers. So whether that be an English background, communications background, something along those lines, those are awesome opportunities for you. If you have any of those backgrounds, we definitely would be interested in speaking with you. If you go outside of our corporate office and you go to one of our local branches, so these would be the opportunities throughout the rest of the state outside of Southeast Wisconsin, as well as throughout the rest of the nation. We have customer service opportunities, sales opportunities, and then a lot within our warehouse operations. Now, one of the things I really enjoy most about my job is the ability to oversee our corporate internship program. I see on the call, most of you are either sophomores or juniors, and so many of you would probably qualify for this at some point in your academic career. We generally hire interns between their sophomore and between their junior and their senior year. So those of you who are sophomores this year, we'll really begin in earnest the recruiting process for our internship in this coming fall. And we tend to recruit most of our interns in the fall semester. And so definitely encourage you to stay in touch with us between now and then. Back in 2020, we actually were able to still host our internship in person on site. And this is not a picture of that group. This is a 2019 group. We were very socially distanced, had a lot of protocols in place to ensure our employees remain very safe. But we really are committed to that collaborative work environment and providing a safe space for our employees to do so. And so if you're interested in an internship at Uline, some of the things that I really think are great about the program and got me really excited about wanting to work here was the fact that our interns, they do real work. They're doing getting real world experience, understanding what they learned in the classroom and understanding how it translates into the business world. And so you're not doing kind of side projects that have no impact or meaning to the organization. You're doing work that would be done by another Uline employee if you were not there. And so it really is a great way to test out an opportunity at Uline and really get a full exposure to who we are as an organization. You do have a mentor that's assigned to you throughout the whole summer to help provide coaching and feedback and really help you achieve your personal and professional goals throughout the summer. You get the opportunity to get a lot of executive exposure, oftentimes even exposure to the Uline family members themselves, whether that be through lunch and learn, social events, networking events, or just seeing them throughout the office. It's something that at Uline, everyone gets excited when the interns are here because we really do value them and see them as a great kind of future pipeline of leaders coming into the organization. We have about 50 interns here at corporate and another 50 interns in sales kind of across the US here. So if you're interested down the road, would be glad to speak with you about those opportunities either now or in the future. Now, one of the things I really think Uline does a great job of overall is investing in our people. Liz is famous for saying that the company with the good people and the inventory wins. And so we really do believe that this is a core belief of our organization, and we really want to invest in our people to make sure that they're able to live their best life while being an employee at Uline. And so we offer really great compensation and benefit packages. The facilities that the Ulines provide for us to work in are truly immaculate. They're a lot of fun to be a part of, and they have great amenities. So whether it be walking trails or a great facility for gym and locker rooms and things like that, personal trainers free of charge, massage parlors, even a hair salon. There's a lot of resources here on site at the corporate facility. We've got a great cafe. They highly subsidize the food. Often say it's not uncommon for me to get steak for $5 or $6 for lunch, which is pretty awesome. My wife gets jealous quite regularly of the good food I get to eat here. And we have a lot of young professional networking events. Obviously, a lot of those had to go on hold with COVID, but that's something we plan to get back to as soon as it's safe to do so, where we're able to have a lot of our young professionals network with each other across the organization. And over the last couple of years, about 80% of our interns have received an offer to join the company full-time upon graduation. And that really does create a situation where you have a lot of young employees and a lot of young people working at the company. And as we continue to grow as a company, that provides a lot of growth opportunities for you as an individual, which is something that even in my personal experience in my role, when I started, I was a team of 1. And by the end of this summer, we'll be a team of 6. They keep adding people to my team because we keep growing as an organization and providing more opportunities. So I'm getting more opportunities to lead and manage, and other people on my team are getting more opportunities to take on more responsibilities within the work that they're doing. And that's just one very small example of what's happening really across the rest of the organization. And so if you're interested in growing your career and really challenging yourself and being a part of a growing company, there's a lot of opportunities here at Uline. So before I wrap up and give an opportunity for Q&A for any questions that you may have, I want to talk a little bit about our hiring process and what we do here. And so at Uline, we have opportunities to connect with us either on Handshake, LinkedIn or uline.jobs. Those are great ways to be able to learn more about our different positions we have available. We have quite a few positions that we're hiring for graduating seniors. Unfortunately, our internships are pretty much wrapped up for this summer, but those of you who are potentially eligible for an internship next year would love to stay in touch with you, and we'll really start the hiring process for that this coming fall. If you're a junior right now entering your senior year this coming semester, we also will be posting our full-time positions in the early fall. So we usually kind of look around September 1st, Labor Day, as when we get those positions posted. And we really operate on a rolling process. So we don't have an absolute deadline to apply, but I do encourage students to always apply early because we have a lot of interest in our positions and a lot of applications that come through. And so you want to make sure you get that application in early so you can be really a part of that first wave of consideration there. If you're interested in following me or connecting with me on LinkedIn, feel free to do so. You can find me at Jordan Bryant. Just search Jordan Bryant Uline in LinkedIn, and you'll be able to track me down really easily. But those are some really good next steps that you can take in terms of applying to Uline and really continuing to learn more about us. Once you apply for a position, our recruiters will review that application. We always have a person who reviews that application and really tries to see if there's a good fit, either for the role you applied for or somewhere else in the organization. And then from there, we'll have you do a first round interview. We have a handful of assessments we'd have you complete, and then we'd bring you in on site for additional interviews with managers for those positions, assuming it goes that far. And so we really try to build a very transparent conversation through the interview process and really try to communicate where you're at in the process really at all times. So if at any point you do end up applying and join the interview process and you've not met me formally through that, feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. My hope is that I can be a resource to you and really help you identify if there's a great opportunity for you at Uline down the road. So that being said, those are what I have prepared for you. And so what we wanted to do, I think, here is turn it over to you as the students and participants here, and if there's any specific questions that you have for me that I can answer for you today.
All right, thanks so much, Jordan. As I mentioned in the chat, please feel free to type your questions in the chat, or if you are dying to ask it in voice and video, feel free to raise your hand and I can call in you that way. I see we do have one question that has come in already, so we'll get started with that and feel free to keep submitting them. The first is from Margaret. Does Uline offer any opportunities to work remotely?
Yeah, good question. So that's something that we get asked quite regularly. At this point, we do not. We are here on site, and that's something that we really are committed to as an organization. And so, if you are interested in working at Uline, that would be something you would need to be in the office to do. A lot of our employees live in Milwaukee and commute down to Pleasant Prairie. It's like a 30-minute drive or so. And that's kind of where a lot of the young professionals in particular do tend to live. But in terms of being able to work fully remote, unfortunately, that's not something we do offer at this time.
All right, while we wait for another question, I've got one here for you right now.
Sure.
Can you talk a little bit more about how COVID has driven Uline's growth? I know you mentioned a little bit in terms of the cleaning supplies and e-commerce, but if you can go into that a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think Uline had been growing. We've had double-digit sales growth every year, really, since the beginning of the company. But I think what was going kind of a quick increase, it just jumped once COVID hit. Like the rest of the economy, Uline did see kind of a quick drop off in early April when everyone kind of went on freeze and stopped buying everything. But because we had so much product in stock, you saw the size of our warehouses and what we have. We were some of the last suppliers in terms of offering things like toilet paper and hand sanitizer, gloves, masks, and things along those lines before they just really disappeared from the market. And so what that had really started to do is it generated and created a situation where we gained a lot of new customers because they couldn't buy from anywhere else and they started to buy from Uline. As you can imagine, that created some log jams in terms of our supply chain, and we had some of the same challenges that other companies did. But I think we were able to acquire a lot of new customers, and even things like I didn't think about, but like we sold plexiglass. Plexiglass was not part of our everyday experience, but it's everywhere now, right? In terms of grocery stores or restaurants, even college cafeterias, they're all over the place. So that flew off the shelves real quick. Uline sells things like picnic tables. So all these restaurants are starting to move to an outdoor dining environment, and so they would buy picnic tables and heaters and things along those lines that Uline sells. We have such a wide product assortment that we were really able to support our customers really well. And it's interesting as kind of as you look back on 2020, kind of where certain sales numbers jumped and all that. It really you can kind of see how the story played out when summer hits and restaurants start to slowly open. All of a sudden, there go all of our picnic tables off the shelf and things along those lines. So it was. I feel very fortunate to be a part of an organization that was able to make a really positive impact on the economy in the midst of it, and being able to donate a lot of products to local law enforcement and first responders, as well as being able to be the vendor that had the product on hand to ensure those frontline workers were staying as safe as possible as well. So Uline is a essential business. Our warehouses stayed open the entire time, and our corporate office did close down for 3 months, but we came back in June of 2020, and we'd learned a lot of different protocols in our warehouse environment to figure out how to do it safely. And it's been really great to be back in the office. But it's really the growth and the customers we acquired, really has not slowed anything down. It's continued just to go really quickly. Our growth in 2021 just continues to accelerate. Honestly, it's really remarkable.
Absolutely. The picnic tables kind of surprised me as something that they stacked. What do you think is the most surprising thing that Uline sells that you wouldn't have expected to find in the catalog out of the 43,000+ items?
Man, I don't think I've ever gotten that question. I think a picnic table was one that would surprise me when I saw that. I had no idea. I think some of the products that we sell, so one of the things we do, if you go to our website, you can see we have this whole section called free offers. And so it's a marketing strategy for us that if you buy $500 worth of product, you qualify for a free offer in this category. And so there's some pretty funny free offers like, dog toys or Weber grills or, different sports paraphernalia, fishing gear, a bunch of different things that would be designed for anyone who's purchasing the products to be kind of incentivize them to buy more from us. So it's definitely it's fun going through those different products because, you never quite know what you're going to find in the free offer section.
Awesome. Still encourage everyone to don't be shy, ask some questions. You're here and Jordan is here to really be a resource to you to learn about Uline, but also if you have general questions about anything related to your career or recommendations in terms of what Uline looks for in candidates, feel free to. Excellent, I see a question. As a recruiter, what are some skills and strengths that you look for while filling positions for both internships and full-time?
Definitely asking questions during presentations. So that's a good one. I'm just kidding. Dakota, good question there. So I would say there's those characteristics that I talked about in terms of the Uline culture. So passion is a really big one for us. We really do want to bring in people who are passionate about what they do. So you may not know exactly what you want to do, but maybe you're majoring in finance and you love numbers and you want to continue. You get excited about the work that you're doing in that space and being able to identify opportunities for process improvement. We can tell when we're talking to candidates when they're just kind of saying the things that should be said and when they really care about it. And so that passion really does carry forward for us. I think someone who's curious, someone who's good at asking questions, someone that's a good writer, able to communicate effectively and succinctly is really important for us. We really do look for, certain positions are going to look for different technical skills. I think I'd encourage all of you to really invest some time in learning things like Excel, or if you're doing anything in more of a technical side, maybe SQL or something along those lines, just to continue to equip yourself to be that much more appealing to different managers. I think those kind of technical tools matched with the right soft skills of communication and leadership, and the curiosity really is important for Uline here. And I think would be advice I would give you to, regardless of which company you're looking for, but I know those really do stand out for us here. If you are looking for a full-time opportunity, we often have a lot of applicants that have some kind of internship experience that's relevant to the position. And so while it doesn't mean you wouldn't get the position if you don't have some kind of experience before applying for a full-time position, there are other candidates that probably do. And so just know that getting some kind of internship or work experience for some of the positions that we have is going to be really advantageous to you, especially for those of you who are kind of more in the underclassmen category. Stay proactive, make sure that you are networking with us, building relationships with us as a recruiting team, and it really does go a long way in terms of finding opportunities within the organization.
Absolutely. You made a really great point there that we try to emphasize to all of our students is don't just look for an internship when you're like in your junior year. Like start thinking about the companies you want to work for early and start making those connections and start going to their presentations and speaking to them at career fairs so that you can really start to build that connection early so that when you do get to that point of being ready to apply for their internships, they know who you are, they like you already, you're good to go. So I see Margaret has a question in here. Although you are currently in recruitment for HR, have you worked in any other areas of human resources?
Yeah, good question. So formally, no. My formal experience would be within HR would be in the recruiting space, but one of the things I really enjoy about what I get to do here is I get to work with very closely with a lot of experts within other areas in HR. So I report to one of the directors in HR, and she's a business partner, an HR generalist essentially by trade. And so she has multiple different teams that report to her, some recruiters, some business partners. And so that team dynamic, we work very closely together with them. And my role kind of functions as a hybrid recruiter, but also a business partner in the sense of I get to work with a lot of the managers in terms of planning for what their hiring needs are going to be long-term as opposed to just the immediate, which is really cool. And I get to work really closely with groups in our compensation team to say, ask questions. Are we paying our interns enough to attract the kind of talent that we're looking for, or are our salaries competitive with the market to make sure that we're bringing in the talent that we need to, or are evaluating the different benefit packages that maybe would be appealing to college students. I get to be a part of a lot of those different conversations, which I've really enjoyed in terms of kind of some unique aspects of my role. I don't feel like I'm kind of very pigeonholed in one very narrow lane of HR. I get exposure to a lot of different spaces. So yeah, so that's how I'd answer that. Formally, I am in the recruiting space, but get exposure to a lot of other areas.
All right, feel free to ask a few more. I do have one more for you here, Jordan.
Sure.
What you mentioned, it's a privately held company, Uline, versus publicly held. So can you talk a little bit more about the advantages to working for privately held versus publicly held?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer on this one. I think it really does come down to kind of your personal preference and where your opportunity, kind of what you care about. But for me, what I have found to really appreciate about working for a privately held company would be the ability to focus on the things that matter to your organization, as opposed to focusing on the things that matter to your shareholders. And when you're a publicly held company, you're kind of held to the idea of making sure you meet quarterly earnings and staying okay in the eyes of your shareholders and the stockholders. And at Uline, at least, what we're able to do, we're able to make long-term decisions that maybe hurt us short-term, but we know are the right decision for long-term growth and continuing to support our customers. Again, it all comes back to making sure that our customers are well supported and taken care of, because that really is the lifeblood of who we are as a company. And so at that point, for me, we don't have to cut corners to make quarterly earnings. We're able to think long-term, think more strategic, and be able to really engage in that way. And that's something that I think I underestimated the importance of, to me, at least personally, as I was joining the organization. My dad worked for a privately held company that turned public while he was there. And he would just say it was never the same. They weren't able to prioritize the employees in the same kind of way and provide some of the same amenities and facilities that the privately held companies have, because at the end of the day, the owners, if you have a good owner, they're the ones really making the decisions in terms of how they want to invest in their customers, in their products, in the business, and in the employees. And so that's something that I've really appreciated about working at Uline.
All right, excellent. I see we have lots of quiet people here today. Oh my goodness. One other thing that I thought of that I figured we could talk about a little bit is if there's opportunities for career growth. So let's say you're hired in one position, what opportunities are there for someone to potentially progress into another department or higher up at Uline?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a few things that are formally in place, and then a few things that I think are informally in place. So formally, we have a few rotation or development type programs where we have a new supply chain rotational program where over the course of 18 to 24 months, you kind of get to experience some opportunities in different departments to then really round out your supply chain understanding to then get placed in a corporate department. We have a business development program where for 12 months, you work in our customer service team, receiving a lot of formal and informal training, working with customers, products, learning our systems, to then ultimately we work with you to identify where your skills and your passions align with where the business need is. And so I've gotten to work with the employees and placing them in some of our corporate departments after that experience in that first year. So a lot of training, a lot of career exploration in that process. Uline has a lot of we call it Uline University, so classes that we have for employees to be able to take to sharpen skills, be able to kind of continue to progress in their career and achieve some of their personal and career goals formally. But we also work really well with our managers and making sure that they're having the right conversations with the employees around what their career goals are, what their passions are, how do the managers help them get from step A to step B to step C down the road. And so I think a stat I heard probably last year, about 65-66% of our employees were the ones who filled our non-entry level positions. So we had quite a few of our promotions were the ways that we filled a lot of the internal positions here. And as we keep growing and we add more people to the team and create new positions, a lot of times that results in having just more organic opportunities for hey, next person up, time to rise up and take on more responsibility because you've got experience and we're going to push you to get there. So I think Uline does it well and definitely feel like have experienced that personally and excited about what the future holds on that front.
All right. Dakota asks, what time of year do you hire for the rotational programs?
Yeah, so we just launched the supply chain rotational program a couple months ago. So that's for a May grad, and so we're almost got that wrapped up. I would expect for future hires, we would have that being launched in the fall semester as well. We tend to hire a lot of our roles in the fall, so that's just kind of a good timeline to keep in mind, at least the ones we know about. And so the other, the development program, we post that position in the fall, and we are recruiting some December graduates for that role, and then we also recruit some May graduates for that position. So I'd say same kind of concept, apply in the fall, start the interview process early, but we still have 1 or 2 more slots open that we're still trying to fill for this summer for May graduates for that role.
All right. I see we have another question here from Wilso. Is there anything, as you're looking at a candidate about their background or resume that could cause you to question if they're a good fit for the role? So what are some things that you kind of watch out for, I guess?
Yeah, it's a good question. So I think one that I do, this is maybe more applicable to our more experienced hires, but this would be true. So keep this in mind for long term is kind of like a jumpy history or large gaps in your employment history. That can always be a flag in terms of, well, just what happened and do you really know what you want to do? And are you going to come into Uline and really want to commit to developing and growing? Or are you going to want to come and then we train and invest in you and then you leave by the time you're ready to, you've kind of taken what you can out of it. I think on the college space in particular, the I would rather see you as an individual go deeper with fewer organizations and opportunities, as opposed to just have a wide smattering of involvements at a high level in a ton of different organizations. So some resumes I'll see, they have about 5 or 6 different student orgs they were part of during their time, but they were always only a member there. I would rather see you be involved in 1 or 2 student organizations and maybe dive a little bit deeper and try to take on a leadership role or something along those lines. I think that tends to be something that is something in a good, from a good way, helpful. The other side of that is if you're applying for a marketing role, but everything about your resume says that you want finance, I'm going to question that a little bit. So if your major is finance, your internship was in finance, and you're in a student organization that's finance focused, I'm going to assume one of 2 things. One, either you've lately decided that you changed your major, or you changed your mind, you realized you didn't want finance, and there was kind of a late career change in terms of what you're thinking. Or more likely, you weren't able to maybe get a finance role, and so you're just trying to put your resume out there. So I think just keep in mind, as you are building out your experience, your resume is a story about what your experience is, who you are, what you bring to the table, and maybe where you want to go. And for us, we really do see this as a long-term relationship. We want to bring you into the organization and have you here for an extended period of time, not just a place to spend the first year after you graduate. And so we want you to come in and feel like you're able to come and grow and thrive. And so a lot of that means that we'd want to have as much alignment between where your passions are, what your experience has been, with what the position is. If you're in this first category where you're like, I changed my mind, I got this experience and realized this is not what I actually want to do, that's where the value of networking is, where your resume maybe doesn't tell you that story, but you're able to build that connection and help explain it in a way that helps your resume make more sense on that to a recruiter, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Great question. I do want to throw a shameless plug in here. If you ever need some resume advice, talk to your career services office at your university. We're happy to take a look at your resumes, help make sure that you've told your story great. So when Jordan gets your resume, there aren't any red flags or things that might make them nervous. So feel free to always come to your career services office. I see we have 2 more questions in here. We've got some time here. So Lauren asks, would you be able to expand on what you look for in graphic design positions in terms of software knowledge? And then there's also a follow-up of what training or growth opportunities can come from a design position within the company. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm not a designer myself, so I apologize if I get some of the terms wrong here, but some of the technology suites that we'd be looking for would be like the Adobe and Photoshop, or I had it in my head, I just lost it. I'll remember it shortly. And so the photo editing and design softwares along those lines are going to be important for us. One of the advantages of coming in to a place like Uline, a lot of companies outsource their design shops and outsource their design. And so here we're able to really invest in a way where you're able to build out your portfolio and work within a team on site with the resources of an organization and the knowledge base of what matters most to the organization when it comes to the to the design elements and things along those lines. And so from a career growth perspective, as we keep growing, there's more need for designers, whether it be web design or print design. Those are all things that we're able to provide from a career growth and perspective, kind of career pathing side of things, which I've always really appreciated. The designers here are top notch and really are able to see a lot of progression over the course of their career here. So you can start as a junior print designer, move to a print designer, move to a senior print designer, move into a manager, because we do it all in-house. Those are the kind of career path opportunities that we do have. If you ever want to jump over to more the web design side of things, where you're doing it more web-based as opposed to printed materials, there's those opportunities as well. So I'm cheating a little bit, and so we'd say Adobe Creative Suite. That's going to be kind of the core technology that we're going to use, and then some of the Mac operating system technologies as well would be helpful on that end. So those are how I'd answer from the technology side.
All right, excellent. I see we have another question from Wilso. Could you please walk us through your typical workday at Uline?
Yeah, one of the things I love most about my job is I don't really have one. I feel like my day is kind of constantly changing. So it often involves a good handful of meetings. So I've got a team. I've got 3 direct reports, and so I meet weekly with each one of them individually. I've got a recruiter meeting we have once a week on Wednesdays, and then multiple department meetings that we would be working with. So every other week, I'm meeting with the CIO, vice presidents of application development, and then multiple directors within IT, talking about the different opportunities and hiring pipelines we have for our internship program, our associate level hires, and other hiring opportunities we have within the department. We do a lot of planning for our internship program and building out events. I've spent a lot of time working with different managers, making sure that I understand what their needs are. That way I can go out to the universities and identify the right programs, the right the different skill sets and things that we're looking for from a student perspective. So that way we can attract and retain the top talent kind of within that category. So I get the fun opportunity where I'm not interviewing every day, all day, but I also get the opportunity to interact with a lot of students. I get to do presentations like this. Normal years, I get to go to colleges and universities and travel a little bit, get to work a lot with my team and help equip them to be successful, and then work a lot with the business. So it's, as you can imagine, there's a lot of different things that kind of play out over the course of an average day. But it's part of HR is being nimble, part of being a professional is being nimble and knowing what your goals are and making sure you get those done, but kind of making sure you're kind of operating towards, the objective of working with your customers, whether that be candidates or, business leaders in my situation.
All right, thank you. Well, I think we'll allow time for one more question if anyone has one, but in the meantime, I'll ask you a fun one. What do you think the favorite benefit of working at Uline is for employees? I know you mentioned the food is pretty cool, but
the food is awesome. I think, I had a fantastic chicken tortilla soup for lunch today that just hit the spot. And it was $1.25 or something like that. It was just remarkable. We have, I think the food is great. I think the facilities are really great. I love to work out and play sports and all that stuff. And there's a lot of kind of equipment for that. I think the honest answer, or though that I think is, I haven't mentioned yet, would be one of the bonuses that all of our employees get at the end of the year is called a profit sharing bonus. So for every $1 million that the company does in sales, every employee, whether you are the CFO or a warehouse employee, gets the same bonus of a profit sharing bonus. So every $1 million that the company does, every employee gets $1. And so when you are approaching an $8 billion year, that's about an $8,000 bonus at the end of the year for all employees on top of performance bonuses and things like that. So the holidays around Uline are a lot of fun. They definitely do them well in terms of great food and parties and also a lot of bonuses too. So that's maybe a different twist that I hadn't shared yet.
all right, excellent. We did have one final question come in. So do you have any annual vacation or an annual corporate meeting where everyone is having fun and socializing? It almost sounded like it at the end. So
yeah, right. We have a corporate barbecue every year. So that's usually in the August timeframe where they'll bring in a live band. We'll have a bunch of great food and just go out on the facilities here. And then we do a lot of department-based events. So we'll have a HR department meeting for like a holiday party or something along those lines, or a couple summer events that we'll do. So every department does their own kind of subgroups, but then all of the corporate facility will get together for the corporate HR or the corporate barbecue. And that's definitely a lot of fun that day. They also, I did mention the holiday meal, prime rib and, turkey, mashed potatoes, all that good stuff. It's hard to beat.
all right, excellent. Well, thank you everyone for your questions. And I want to extend a huge thank you to Jordan and Uline for their partnership with UW Whitewater over this past year and as part of this event, part of the UW System Career Trek series. Thank you so much, Jordan. Appreciate your time today.
Yeah, for sure.
I am going to take some time really quick to share my screen, so give me just a moment. Come on, sharing the screen. All right, excellent. So I do want to remind people to make sure they've filled out the participation form. You can find that further up in the chat to make sure that you get credit for attending today. In addition to that, I've got some thank yous to do, given that this is our last participation or trek of the year. So I first of all want to extend a giant thank you to Haley Carr at UW Superior, who has taken every Wednesday of the fall and spring semesters out of her day to host these career treks virtually for everyone and make sure that the technology is working well and going great. So applause, applause. Thank you, Haley. I also want to thank the UW System Career Trek Committee for their collaboration and planning on this project. We started this last May, and it went so well as an opportunity to allow our students to learn about companies throughout the state of Wisconsin, and not just companies, but a few other businesses as well. So thank you to everyone with that. Thank you to everyone that has participated over the past year, whether you're a student, an employer, alumni, faculty, or staff member. Really happy to have had everyone participating and excited to continue on for the next year. I do want to mention that this trek has been recorded. So on my slide right here, you can see the official website of the UW System Career Treks at uwrf.edu/UWS Career Treks. And every single trek, with the exception of maybe one or two, is posted under past virtual career treks. So if you want to come back and listen to what Jordan had to say today about something, or maybe one of the other companies, be sure to check that out. It's all on there and the YouTube links are there. So all you have to do is click in. And then I would also like to remind everyone that this is not the last trek officially. It is the last one of the spring semester, but we have a series that we're starting to plan already for the fall semester. So we're going to have information available on the website and on Handshake, and you'll get an email from your career services office in late August or early September to let you know which businesses are going to be participating and the dates and the times and all of those details. So we hope to see you then. And with that, I just want to say thank you to everyone. Once again, thank you to Jordan, and have a great rest of your spring and a great end of the semester and summer.